Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church on Zoom. We respectfully recognize that our church property rests on Ahachimand and Dongba land. My name is Yulis Aiton, and I'm your worship associate today. I'm joined by Beth Syverson, our Director of Music Ministries, and in welcoming you this morning. This morning, the choir has created a recording for us with Phil Chipman on bass, and later Craig Sperry will present a solo hymn. Reverend Judy, our Director of Religious Education, already held classes for the children earlier this morning, and she will offer one for our youth after the service. Our minister, Reverend Sean Wilshire, is not leading the service today, but she has a message for you.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're having an absolutely fabulous day. I know you're going to have an absolutely fabulous, wonderful service. So, for those of you who may not know me, I'm Reverend Sean Wilshire, and I proudly serve this wonderful, beloved community. It really is fabulous. And that's what I encourage you to do. If you're new, you haven't quite gotten to know people, or you're just kind of coming in and lurking a little bit, that's okay. But what I really encourage you to do is get to know this community. And one of the best ways to do that is at the end of the service, we have these 20 minutes of breakout sessions to get to know people. And the nice thing is that everybody in there is in the same boat. It's random who gets put in there, so there's no real cliques going on or that sort of thing. That can happen sometimes, when we do in-person church, people get together with their friends, and that's totally cool and wonderful. But this way, you get to know new people and different people, which is just wonderful. And everybody's there. So, and this is a really friendly bunch. They are truly wonderful, loving, beautiful people, and I can't wait for you to get to know them. So I encourage you to do that. All right, without further ado, have an absolutely fabulous service.
Today, our special guest speaker is Reverend Rick Hoyt-McDaniels. Reverend Rick has served churches in the Los Angeles area for 22 years. He recently completed an interim ministry with the Unitarian Universalist Church of Long Beach. He lives in downtown Los Angeles. I would like to invite you to open the chat box, and if you haven't already, say hello this morning. We'll be turning off the chat during the sermon portion of the service so as not to distract, but we'll turn it back on afterwards. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is simply a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope that you will find it here. After the service, we will be placing everyone who remains into Zoom breakout rooms for 20 minutes of coffee and conversation. Everyone is welcome to join in, and it's a great way to get to know people in the congregation. Our worship begins with the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of the Unitarian Universalist tradition, and as we light it, we say our Unison Affirmation. If you have a chalice or candle at home, we can light them together. Please join me now as we begin. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me on this beautiful hymn. As tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea, our kindred hearts and minds unite that shall be free. Free from the bonds that bind the mind to narrow thought and lifeless creed. Free from a social code that fails to serve the cause of human need. A freedom that reveres the past, but trusts the dawning future more, and bids the soul in search of truth adventure boldly and explore. Prophetic church, the future waits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free.
Our call to worship this morning is a responsive reading. I'll read the text in the regular text, and Euless is going to respond for all of us with the text in italics. Words of Ken Patton from our hymnal, This House. This house is for the ingathering of nature and human nature.
It is a house of friendships, a haven in trouble, an open room for the encouragement of our struggle.
It is a house of freedom, guarding the dignity and worth of every person.
It offers a platform for the free voice, for declaring in both times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion.
It is a house of truth-seeking, where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest, where mystics can abide in a community of searchers.
It is a house of art, adorning its celebrations with melodies and handiworks.
It is a house of prophecy, outrunning times past and times present in visions of growth and progress.
This house is a cradle for our dreams, the workshop of our common endeavor.
For faith that invites us to be who we are, and to bring what we have to the table. For faith that delights in the work that we do,
A reading this morning from our hymnal. This is the words of the English poet John Milton, number 671. Our faith and knowledge thrive by exercise, as well as our limbs and complexion. If the waters of truth flow not in a perpetual progression, they sicken into a muddy pool of conformity and tradition. The light which we have been gained was given us not to be ever staring on, but by it to discover onward things more remote than from our knowledge. Where there is much desire to learn, there of necessity will be much arguing, much writing, many opinions. Give me liberty to know, to utter, and to argue freely according to conscience, above all liberties. And though the winds of doctrine were let loose to play upon the earth, so truth be in the field, we do injuriously to misdoubt her strength. For who knows not that truth is strong next to the Almighty? She needs no policies, no stratagems to make her victorious. Let her and falsehood grapple whoever knew truth put to the worse in a free and open encounter.
Please join me in this song with words from Theodore Parker. The hours of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. One more time. The hours of religion, which like sunshine goes everywhere, its temple all face, its shrine the good heart, its creed all true, its ritual works of love.
This house is a house of truth-seeking, says Ken Padden in our opening words, the call to worship. The fourth of our 7 Unitarian Universalist principles is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. The chalice affirmation that we began our worship service this morning includes one of our purposes as to seek the truth in love. Truth is important in this house, whatever house you happen to be in this morning. And equally important is the knowledge we derive from discovering the truth. Unitarian Universalists don't settle for hunches. We don't buy claims without evidence. We don't take it on faith, because the Bible tells me so is not good enough for us. We are the church of Dragnet, with Sergeant Joe Friday telling the universe, just the facts, ma'am. We strive to be a reality-based religion. Good or bad, happy or sad, our faith steps up to respond to the world as it really is. We want the truth, as close as we can know it, even if it hurts. What's the truth of climate change? What's the truth of our national history? What's the truth of our president's taxes? Being reality-based doesn't mean that we're unconcerned with the internal, the psychological, the spiritual, but it means that we want to connect with what's real in those realms too, just as we want to know the reality of the material world. So what is the truth about freedom and free will? What is the truth about our human nature? What is true about God and the afterlife, as much as we can know? We are, in all religious concerns, a reality-based religion. As Ken Padden says, we want to be a house of truth-seeking where scientists can encourage devotion to their quest and where mystics can abide in a community of searchers. So, to be a reality-based religion, we need a method to distinguish false from real. If we want to be truth seekers, we need a path to follow that leads toward truth. We need a tool that sifts truth from fantasy, a method that is both free and responsible. Fortunately, such a method exists, and Ken Patton gives us that too. In this house, he says, we offer a platform for the free voice, for declaring both in times of security and danger, the full and undivided conflict of opinion. You know, this is a house of truth seekers because we offer a platform for the free voice. You know, this congregation follows a free and responsible search for truth and meaning because both in times of security and in danger, you will hear in our churches the full and undivided conflict of opinion. That's the method that we use to distinguish false from real. That's the free and responsible path that leads to truth. And that's also the method that's called liberalism. And that liberal method, our platform for the free voice that supports the full and undivided conflict of opinion, allows Unitarian Universalism to claim the name liberal religion. Now, you've probably heard that phrase liberal religion once or twice since you've been involved with Unitarian Universalism. From 1939 to 1949, the Unitarian and Universalist Ministers Associations and the Meadville Seminary published the Journal of Liberal Religion, to name just one example. And perhaps you thought, as I did when you first heard that phrase, that we are a liberal religion must mean because of our liberal politics. So on one side, we have the religious right, and then we're the religious left. Church-going, sermons and hymns, pass the collection baskets, candles and coffee hour, but politically liberal. Liberal religion, right? But that isn't what liberal religion actually means. Liberal in this sense is cousin to words like liberty or liberation. We are a liberal religion because we are a free religion. In the words of our opening hymn, we are free from the bonds that bind the mind to narrow thought and lifeless creed, free from a social code that fails to serve the cause of human need. Our liberal religion is free from an unyielding tradition, which is orthodoxy, or a powerful hierarchy, as in denominationalism, or from inerrant scripture, as in a fundamentalist religion. Our liberal approach to religion was born about 500 years ago at the time of the Enlightenment, when there was a general blossoming of the liberal spirit in all aspects of human life. In government, liberalism expressed itself in democratic movements, away from authoritarian governments like monarchies. In science, liberalism evolved a method to determine objective truth, freeing science from the authority of religious myths. In economics, liberalism harnessed the power of the free market. And in religion, liberalism birthed Unitarian Universalism, a religion where individual conscience is no longer subject to pope or priest or prophet or scripture. The principles of classical liberalism, whether in government, science, economics, religion, or elsewhere, always rest in how we answer the question, how do we know what is real? How will we know the truth? In short, how can we know anything? Do we listen to an authority like a king or a pope? Do we read the answer in a sacred book? Do we defer to one group of special people like the elders in our community, or we try to identify the smartest or the strongest among us and follow their lead? Well, the liberal answer is that we all hash it all out together, a platform for the free voice respecting the full and undivided conflict of opinion. So you could think of liberalism as a kind of a game. The players enter the playing field with their opinions about the truth. And they play by engaging in debate. They argue, they offer evidence, they publish their research in peer-reviewed journals, they challenge, and they defend. The goal is to identify a shared truth, the winner on the field, and everybody goes home with more knowledge. Now, the play of the liberal game depends on everyone following two rules. So rule number one, everybody has to play. If you want your opinion to be considered, you have to put it on the field and defend it. Nobody gets to stand to the side and say, my opinion is beyond debate because I'm a special person with special access to the truth. Or my truth is based on a holy scripture that cannot be questioned. Or my knowledge is based on a personal revelation I had that I can't share with you. So appeals to special authority are out of bounds in the liberal game. Every opinion has to get on the field and debate. And then rule number two is that no knowledge is ever considered final. The game always advances in rounds, but it never really ends. So no truth claim is ever finally beyond criticism. Even long settled knowledge that we think we know for sure has to remain in play. Actually, the meaning of knowledge in the liberal game is when this idea is repeatedly tested, probed, and further explored, it continues to prove itself on the field. So when John Milton says that our faith and knowledge thrive by exercise, as well as our limbs and complexion, he is describing the liberal game. When he says the light which we have gained was given us not to be ever staring on, but by it to discover onward things more remote from our knowledge, he's giving us the second rule of the liberal game. No knowledge is final. Every new knowledge we learn is a light that guides us further. And when Milton says, here of necessity will be much arguing, much writing, and many opinions, it sounds like he's giving us a play-by-play commentary of the action on the liberal playing field. Milton wants to give the players the liberty to argue freely according to conscience, above all liberties. That's the most important freedom we have, Milton says, to be able to argue freely. And yes, all of that arguing sounds uncomfortable. If you're going to play the liberal game, you have to be willing to let your ego take a hit. You might get your feelings hurt when your theories get picked apart. But debating ideas is also kind of exciting, like the fun of any competitive game. Ken Patton's phrase, the full and undivided conflict of opinion, sounds like Howard Cosell calling the Super Bowl. But what of the danger that with all this arguing, the truth that we're searching for will get buried beneath opinions that are offensive or repugnant or just plain foolish? Aren't there some ideas that we should just banish from the field so we can get to the truth faster? Well, Milton says no. He says, though all the winds of doctrine were let loose to play upon the earth, so truth be in the field, we do injuriously to misdoubt her strength. For who knows not that truth is strong next to the Almighty? She needs no policies, no stratagems to make her victorious. Let her and falsehood grapple, whoever knew truth put to the worse in a free and open encounter. If we allow the game to play, the truth will out. When we set up policies and stratagems that bar some ideas from the field and force one idea to the top, we break the liberal rules. That's cheating. And the truth suffers because we're no longer looking for the truth, we're crowning my truth. And we're stopping the game, which prevents good ideas from getting even better. As Milton says, we have allowed the stream of truth to sicken into a muddy pool of conformity and tradition. That's not liberalism. And as a liberal religion, if we lose liberalism, we lose something essential to our faith. If we lose liberalism, we lose who we are. if we allow policies and stratagems to silence the full and undivided conflict of opinion in our religious pursuits, then we may have earned a temporary respite from the noise, but we have thwarted our liberal truth-seeking in favor of an orthodoxy, a denominational conformity, a fundamentalism. We are a liberal faith, but in our churches in the last several years and in the larger society around us lately, we seem to be losing our faith in liberalism. I'm used to seeing challenges to liberalism from the political and religious right, religious fundamentalism, strongman authoritarianism, policies that ignore science, leaders that argue from emotional rhetoric instead of evidence, white racist nationalism. I'm not accustomed to challenges to liberalism from the political left, but I see it now from that side too. Here's the danger that I see. I see attacks on the game of liberalism, who gets to play and how play is conducted on the field. I see sincere opinions prevented from being entered in debate. Liberalism doesn't require giving a forum to cranks, but we should be careful who we call a crank. A contrary opinion that is even 1% true can be helpful in advancing knowledge. I see favored opinions being granted the right not to be questioned, but good ideas require testing just as bad ideas too. And even a mostly true idea can be made stronger when it responds to criticism. I see players appealing to special knowledge in defending their opinions, knowledge that can't be shared by all. When a player says something like, "You can't know this for yourself, you just have to believe me," they are substituting belief for knowledge. Knowledge belongs to everyone. Trust me is not an argument. I see players using claims of harm or violence as an excuse to withdraw from debate, yet still expecting respect for their ideas. Attacks against persons are intolerable. Attacks against ideas is the play of the game. And then there are the more serious attacks against the premises of liberalism itself. Liberalism requires that we acknowledge an objective reality. It is illiberal to consider reality a cultural construct and thus deny any possibility of a shared knowledge of that reality. Liberalism employs truth-seeking tools that are neutral, available to everyone, and work the same for everyone. It is illiberal to consider reason, debate, and the scientific method to be no less subjective than myth and intuition, thus placing a shared truth beyond our reach. Liberalism requires that we lift up our shared humanity. It is illiberal to consider a person's status in a subgroup of humanity to be more basic to their identity than the humanity we all share together, thus walking away from the goal of world community that we seek in the sixth principle of our faith. If we abandon liberal premises, we abandon the premises of our liberal religion. There is no shared truth to search for. There is no objective reality to base our religion on. There is no usefulness in debate because no shared understanding is possible. Liberalism works. The advancements in human society over the last 500 years under the liberal method are undeniable. Science, medicine, technology, human rights, and religion too. Life under liberal principles has gotten demonstrably better in the last 50 years for people of color, women, gays and lesbians, disabled persons. Yet liberalism's progress is too slow for some. As lives improve gradually, some suffering continues. That's hard to bear. And the progress of liberalism rarely moves in a straight line forward. So liberalism is frustrating for those who have a more radical spirit and who are self-convinced of their vision for the future. Some feel they can jumpstart the change they seek by substituting disruption and dismantling for debate and persuasion. Perhaps they feel in these dangerous circumstances, we don't have time anymore for liberalism. Liberalism requires the free exchange of ideas. Conflict is expected, and conflict is hard. But liberalism is the proven answer, both in times of security and in danger. If everybody plays, if everybody understands the requirement to defend their opinion through evidence and reason, not appeals to special authority, and if we agree that no proposed truth is ever beyond question, then liberalism works. We can move forward on our search for truth. Propositions become knowledge. Humanity gains a closer approximation of reality. Erroneous beliefs are corrected, and any laws or cultural norms based on those wrong beliefs are overturned. Suffering eases, society progresses. If we lose liberalism, we lose the best tool humanity has had for overcoming injustice, easing suffering, and advancing human society. Let us not now abandon the method that has been so effective for so many, for so long. Prophetic Church, the future waits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love. Proclaim the truth that makes us free.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month, we are supporting Laura's House. Over the past 24 years, Laura's House has provided shelter and supportive services to more than 5,000 abused women and men and children, as well as providing counseling, life skills education, and legal advocacy. There are now 3 ways in which you can give online. The first is through our website, www.ocuuc.org. The second through an app called Give. You can download it on the App Store for your smartphone, and once set up, you can use it for any of your online giving, including your pledge. The third method is by texting 714-942-1131. Simply text to that number and in the message type the amount. As always, thank you for your generosity as the offering is given and received.
Touch the earth, reach the sky, walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land, our faith a quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky, children ask the reasons why. In our lives the answers show, and by our love they learn and grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky, all are born and all shall die. Lies the time left in between to follow a star, to build a dream. Touch the earth, reach the sky, hug the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high, spirits joining as we fly, to touch the earth, to reach the sky.
Please join in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts our intention into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts we share.
Gather together, we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
Now is a time when we honor the important events in our lives. You are invited, one and all, whether you are a member, friend, or visitor, to participate in our ritual of joys and sorrows. Perhaps you come in here today holding something close to your heart, moments from the last days or hours that have struck you at your core. If you'd like to honor such a profound joy or sorrow, you are invited to do so. You can do this by lighting a candle at home. It's a wonderful way to honor what you hold in your heart.
If you would like to share your joy or sorrow with the congregation, you can write it in the chat, which will be open again soon. Let us take a few moments in contemplation as Beth plays some music, And then I will begin reading the joys and sorrows out loud. Please forgive me if I miss a joy or a sorrow, and you can help me not to miss any by waiting to type your own responses and comments about other people's joys and sorrows until after we have finished this time of our worship service. Joys and sorrows. Here are some of our joys and sorrows for this morning. Scott shares that this has been a rare, productive week. Congratulations. Dina and Bob M. share a joy that their son will be 62 on Tuesday. Amelia R. shares that this coming Wednesday is Amelia's mother's, Dorothy Rousseau's, 95th birthday, and we are blessed to have her still with us and enjoying life together. Gabrielle wishes a happy birthday to Alan. Nancy Lockery shares the exciting news that she is finally fully retired. Congratulations. Yay, Nancy. Gratitude from Marilyn G. Thankful for a successful drive-through flu clinic. She says that we served 56 people who hopefully will be free from the flu this year. I hope so. She's grateful for the many volunteers from our church and for the students who participated to make this a success. From Margaret Peggy P. to everyone, thanks to everyone who made our drive-through flu shots possible yesterday. She says that without it, her husband and I might not have gotten one. So glad you did. And Meg W. shares this. For the first time ever, her grandson, Rai, asked his mother to do FaceTime with Gigi, his grandma. That's her. And what a joy that was. I also am happy to share another joy from our congregation. This is news that Sean Wilshire shares about Rika Cauffiel, the congregation's intern minister. A big joy, Rika Cauffiel just passed the Ministerial Fellowship Committee with the highest possible rating, that's a 1, yay! And that means she's jumped through all of the hoops that she needs to do in order to become an ordained minister. In fact, and here's great news, she would like the Orange Coast congregation to ordain her in conjunction with the Anaheim congregation, where she's currently serving as a quarter-time minister, and also the Long Beach congregation, which is her original home church. So more information about an ordination service for Rika Cauffiel will be forthcoming in the weekly email, which is called The Blast here, and we are all so proud of her. Those are our joys and sorrows today. Let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations, and also all the hurts and the sadnesses, both spoken and silent. Let our joys remind us to be thankful. Our concerns remind us to have hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect with each other. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone.
Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say together, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently, and yet, when we gather together, virtually or otherwise, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become part of this beloved community, if even just for today. We encourage you to write in the chat your name and where you are from. If you would like to know more about our church, please see our church website for ways you can get involved and sign up for our weekly email called The Blast at blast@ocuuc.org. If you would like to know more about membership, please contact us at membership@ocuuc.org. Our community is enriched by its visitors, guests, and friends, and we hope that they find a spiritual home here. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected. After the benediction, we will have a short period where everyone can wave and say hello. Then those that remain will be put into Zoom breakout groups for 20 minutes if you so choose. We invite you to check in and get to know the people in your group and welcome any visitors. Announcement. We have so many things going on. The first thing is the Atheist Humanistic Agnostics discussion that is going on today at 12:15 p.m. on Zoom. We have the fiction book group meeting on Monday at 7:30 p.m. And then we have Work Party, the painting of the admin building, and they're looking for volunteers to come. Please check out our website for more information. And we have social hour every Friday at 5 p.m. Stitch Wits every Saturday at 10 a.m. And we also have fall auction coming virtual to you, as well as where you can place your bid online. More details coming for that one. And Reverend Sean is holding a workshop class called Get Your Mojo Back. Please contact her for scheduling. Then we have the Environmental Film Festival, which is next Saturday, October 17th. Get your tickets now to watch the films online. Once you purchase the ticket, you have 24 hours access to the films on video on demand. You can find more details about all these programs on our websites.
For our benediction, I'd like to sing to you. This is a hymn from our hymnal number 297, The Star of Truth. The star of truth but dimly shines behind the veiling clouds of night. But every searching eye divines some partial glimmer of its light. The certainty for which we crave, no mortal ones can ever know. Uncharted waters we must brave and face whatever winds may blow. Though for safe harbor we may long, we must not let our courage fail. And though the winds of doubt blow strong, upon the trackless ocean sail. From honest doubt we shall not flee, nor fetter the inquiring mind. For where the hearts of all are free, a truer faith we there shall find.
Thank you, Reverend Rick. That was great service today. Thank you so much. Let's all sing our goodbye song to each other. Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me. Be safe, be well, you mean the world to me.
This service